What is going on, you guys? My name is Rayge, and we are back today with this rare special event video guide for you all. In today's video, we're going to be going through the Guardians team that I utilize actually for how the Guardians stole Grootmas. I know this event was a lot harder than most folks anticipated, especially if you guys already have the 7-star for the Guardians of the Galaxy and you're trying to get through this level 85 plus. So this is not really a guide overall for newer players, because in order to unlock the full costumes here at the very end, guys, you do actually need a pretty notable team. But this video, at least I'm able to showcase for you guys, you know, how I was able to get through. I got some gameplay footage on Note 3, which is the main bottleneck here, and my team is only about, I think, around 450k, as you'll see in the gameplay footage. So allow me to go through my character upgrades and so forth, so that way you guys can be like me, go through all the way without needing to invest too much in the Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay, that said, it goes without saying, the most important character is going to be Gamora, but these are the respective levels, as you can see, for Star-Lord, Groot, Rocket Raccoon, and Mantis. We don't need to put too much in Groot and Mantis, because they'll really be there for supportive capabilities. And then Star-Lord himself, he is nice to have those blinds of both Rocket Raccoon. But let me go through all their upgrades respectively, and you can see how high to build them up. Without a doubt though, in order to get the job done all the way, you need to have a powerful Gamora. So gear tier 15 is probably a bare minimum requirement. I have her built up because of the Infinity Watch team, but again, don't hesitate to invest in her, because she does have really good value even in the end game. And you know, Infinity Watch is still a top 5 team in the game if you're an end game player, so they can do a lot of things and used in all game modes, so for sure you'll find value there. Star-Lord, as you can see, just kept him bare minimum for upgrades here, but if you give him, you know, a skirmisher, he's gonna be able to apply at least some blinds here and there to mitigate some damage. Gear tier 13, nothing more needed. He's really gonna be there providing energy for Gamora, as you'll see in the gameplay footage. Groot, again, same thing. Gear tier 12, haven't built him up because I didn't really want to invest in materials on him, but I mean, if you give him the fortifier, he can at least soak up some damage better. And overall, you know, he's going to be notable because of his special ability here, you know, low energy and applying defense up and death proof. It's going to be notable to, you know, assist Gamora where needed, especially with her being a squishier character. We got Rocket Raccoon here, gear tier 13, level 71, just to increase that focus and resistance. But again, no T4s on his abilities. He's not going to be needed higher than that, and even just a small ISO 8 on him for extra additional damage. Nothing crazy going on there. And then last but not least, the lowest member of my team, Mantis. She doesn't do too much, to be honest, but you know what I like about her is at least she can add some heals here and there. Her empathy can add some regen, which is notable for Gamora, but otherwise we don't need to overinvest in her. These 5 characters are able to get the job done all the way for me. Like I said, that's pretty much a wrap right there, guys, for the 5 characters of my Guardians. Let's dive into the Note 3 footage, because I know this one is the main bottleneck for players trying to get all the way to the finish line with this event. So as you can see, total team power 450k, and I put Gamora in the center because, you know, she is probably going to get attacked the most, so at least she can mitigate some damage for our fellow allies. Additionally, make sure you have Star-Lord next to her and Groot in between them, because they're going to be getting that chance to get additional energy, especially when he utilizes his special. So what I like to do in the beginning here of this node, guys, is making sure that you're aiming for the damage dealers. So that's Kree Reaper. We can apply blind to them as well, and just ensuring that we mitigate as much damage, because they hit hard. As you can see, their, you know, combat power being, you know, close to 100k. And really, whenever you get a chance to use Groot, make sure you're using his defense up special, because it does a couple things. It gives death proof for our allies, and as well as Gamora being able to have additional protection with the defense up and death proof. But yes, whenever we get the initial start of these nodes, we always want to keep aiming for the damage dealer, so both the Krees go down, leaving us with Noble and as well as the just the last Kree minion here, so Oracle. So we do want to make sure that we're saving our abilities like Gamora's special and ultimate for big wave clusters. So when you're down to 1 or 2 enemies, you really don't want to be using her abilities. But everybody else, you go ahead and use their abilities, because they're not going to be doing much anyways, right? Again, Star-Lord using his special to give energy to Gamora, but blinding also the damage dealers. But you'll find what the Kree really thrives in is once they start their you know, their buffs, and you can see a bunch of regens going up, taunt. and that's a great opportunity for Gamora to use a special to completely wipe the board. And again, aiming for the damage dealers. And then when it's coming down to the wire here with these last couple of minions, you do want to be saving the abilities. This last wave is likely where folks will have a hard time, because we're up actually against 3 characters that aren't minions. So that's Minerva, Ronan as well, and Korath. So that said, guys, we really want to be aiming for them first, but you'll see why it's dangerous in this wave, especially once they spawn, is because you can just see the number of buffs that go up with all of them again granting each other regen, defense up. It becomes a very, very powerful wave that we have to overcome, and that's the hardest part. So eventually at some point you're going to get the opportunity to attack, and this time I would recommend just using Gamora whenever you can, all her abilities. Those Kree minions actually had taunt up, so we had no choice but to attack them. But again, if you have the chance to pull off a Star-Lord ability, try to see if you can blind Ronan right there, because he uses his special ability, which does some pretty hefty AoE damage, so we were able to dodge that, thankfully. But now at this point, our team slowly starts getting chipped down here. So again, we were able to time it so that Groot actually gets another special off, which is huge for us, because again, we want to be making sure that Gamora at least gets any kind of damage mitigation. We finish off Ronan with Gamora's ability there, so we're looking pretty good. But be mindful of the Minerva, because she can bring back a fallen enemy minion, right, which she does right there. And at this point, Gamora should have a special backup to do some really massive AoE damage across the board. And we're looking pretty good. Half the wave is down. We still have 3 of our members up and ready to go here, but Mantis going down. It's just Groot and Gamora now. So at this point, if you get a chance to strike, aim for the damage dealers like Ronan right there. He gets taken down. And then finally, we're just dealing with some minions and Minerva. Minerva has a good hefty heal and a revive, but her abilities cost a lot of energy. So I would take this time to actually focus on damage dealers. In this case, like when she brings back Kree Reaper, definitely takes precedence over Minerva. And I used the ultimate there to try to finish her off. Unfortunately, didn't realize that she was tankier than I expected. But at this point, we're still looking pretty good, because we know that the bulk of this wave is just healers, right? So once we take down Minerva, we know the regen sustain is gone, finishing off Kree Reaper. And then finally, these 2 weaker minions just or more of that supportive healing role. So that's really the attack order, guys, that I recommend, because we're aiming for all the damage dealers first. And again, this is going to be the bottleneck, I think, when you're going through. It was definitely one of the harder nodes when I went through it. If you get through that, everything else is pretty straightforward. You can apply that same logic to the nodes that follow afterwards. Anyway, I hope this helps you guys in your progression. We still have 14 days time recording, so lots of time. Thank you as always, you guys. Do appreciate checking my videos, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.